Do you remember that time that the Punisher turned into a black guy? I do. Stick around and let me tell you about it. So this one is from 1991, and the writer started his epic involving the Kingpin called Punisher Final Days. The plan was to slowly tear down Frank Castle and have Jigsaw lead the charge on that. So after Frank beat the tar out of a lot of thugs, they finally held him down and they sliced his face up to match Jigsaw's, right down to the bone. Using his new injuries, Frank pretends to be another injured inmate and he gets carried out of the prison. Well, this means that he escaped, so now he's injured and running from the police. And he does what any sane person would do in this situation. He hires a hooker that is also a drug addict to apply plastic surgery and make him unrecognizable. Don't worry guys, she used to be a doctor, it's okay. She explains that she was a good doctor until the shifts ran so long that she was taking uppers to stay awake and then downers to go to bed. This apparently led to a heroin addiction for her. Frank found the whole thing funny, but he didn't have very many other options. So when he woke up, he demanded to see his new appearance. And before explaining why she gave him a skin graft on his entire body that would change his skin color, she first explained that she gave him a haircut so that it would match. So the writer either left due to creative differences or he was fired. But either way, they brought in the writer from Luke Cage to resolve this mess of a plotline. So they had the Punisher drive to Chicago where he was driving erratically due to his pain meds, and the police pulled him over. They then began to beat him. So he fights back and he gets in several more police beatings. This gets Luke Cage involved because he wants to save this poor man, and then the two of them steal a police car and they leave the scene. Frank then hires Luke to help him find his stash in Chicago, which Luke agrees upon under one rule: no guns. They try their best and they beat up some more thugs, but the Punisher's cash has already been removed, so in exchange for his services, Cage asks the Punisher to come on his own gig with him. They break into a warehouse where they find themselves overwhelmed, so Luke and Frank argue about it and they part ways temporarily. Frank then decides to do it on his own, jumps through a window and shoots everyone up. Then they work together, save a hostage, and the graft begins to fade away, making Frank look paler and paler, until eventually it completely fades. Frank dons the old Punisher costume and he runs in to save Luke Cage. Luke Cage figures out that it was Frank all along, and Frank warns him to stay on the right side of the law or he'll come hunting for him. And that's it lasted 3 issues, and in the end, no one at Marvel will ever talk about it. I don't know which situation is worse, Frank being turned into a black guy or Lois Lane becoming a black girl to understand the African American struggles, but that's a story for another that time. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip into the weird, and if you want to chat about it, follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian or Instagram at Comicstorian. I'll see you guys next time right here.